Hi! I figured I would actually do an intro to this live stream because I don't know how many people are going to come. And come to find out, quite a few people come to my live streams after they've stopped. Who knew? So the purpose of today's stream is to test out whether or not I get any views on my person page, my public figure page. I figured while I was waiting to see if anybody came to this, I would talk a little bit about scripting. So, for those of you who don't know what scripting is essentially writing out the life that you would want to have as if it was already happening. Essentially, you're telling the story of what you want your life to be. And there's many different ways that you can do this. In fact, it seems like each time I get a new notebook, I do it in a completely different way. My first notebook, I thought of it kind of like a book of shadows. For those of you who don't know what a book of shadows is, it's a book of spells and different things that you do that kind of work for you on a magical level, which was why I was so excited when I found this notebook that says stay magical. And so I wrote down a lot of the wishes that I wanted in the form of poems. And as time went on, I didn't do that as much. I went on to actual scripting, which is, like I said, writing out what you want as if it was already happening. As if you're writing the story of your life down in a notebook. Actually, the funny thing about this is that I used to have a really nasty habit of just getting a few pages in, and then I would completely start a whole new notebook. So part of the journey of me genuinely trying to become a better person was reaching the end of the notebook. And I know that reaching the end of a notebook, it might sound like a nothing goal to most people, completely insignificant, but for me it was about finishing something, completing something, because I am one of those very special self-sabotagers who will put in all of the hard work and then get to the finish line and then just stop. I'm one of those people, and I don't want to be one of those people. So, let's say that I was one of those people. I am no longer one of those people. That's a habit I'm also working to break, is speaking things that I don't want into existence. So, where I used to would say, I am this type of person, now I would say, I am the type of person who finishes things to their completion. So only once I finished writing in my Stay Magical notebook did I move on to this notebook around the time of my birthday in 2020. This notebook, I decided to do it a little bit differently. I decided to make it into a calendar. And for most of the situations, the calendar is a bit much, but one thing I really liked about what I did was I made a section in each of the weekly things. In each of the weekly sections, I made a manifest section so that I could talk about all of the wonderful things that happened, that manifested, that one might take for granted, or one might forget the smaller parts that happened on the way to a bigger manifestation. So, for example, my manifestation was I got a dining room table. And the bigger manifestation that was part of was that I wanted a cozier home. I wanted a comfortable home and a nice, safe home. So, a dining room table would really pull all of that together. But as I was saying, another way that you can set up your manifestation journal is on a weekly basis, and this is very good for people who need to see their progress. Like, honestly, I should always set up my journals like this, because the only way that I know that I'm making progress is if I document every single thing. Like, there are so many huge goals that you want in life, but more times than not, acquiring these goals take many, many steps. And so this setup is very good for those types of people who like to see the gradual process. Also, for people who like to write everything down and who like to bullet journal, this is a great way to just have everything that you use in one notebook. Now, something else that I like to do that I started doing with this journal is at the back of the journal, I like to write down all of the manifestations. Like, every week I take the section of manifestations and I put them in the back so that at the end of the year, or at the end of the journal, I can see all of the wonderful blessings that I have been given. And this isn't even all of the blessings. This is the blessings that are just involved with those things that you're trying to bring into reality. So, like I mentioned, one of my goals was to make sure that I always finish a notebook. So, when I finished 2 notebooks for the manifestations, I was extremely proud of myself. It has worked for me tremendously. Like, one thing that I have learned is that I went from knowing absolutely nothing about manifestation to being an extremely good manifester, an extremely powerful manifester. Unfortunately, so many of the things that I have manifested over the last 2 years has been kind of a secret. Kind of things that people don't want other people to know about. Let's see. I'm trying to see right offhand if there's anything that I can talk about. Let's see. Oh, I know a fun one. Before I knew what manifesting was, which is essentially creating things into your reality, I thought that my family just had a super peculiar talent, and that was to be thinking of something on our way to a thrift store or to a flea market, and there would be some version of what we were talking about at the flea market. One of the most fun examples from when I was a child was we were going to a Renaissance fair, and we were searching for costumes to wear. The first stop that we had was amazing. We stopped at our first location and found every single thing that we needed for the Renaissance fair. My grandmother found patterns for men's clothing to make old-fashioned type smocks and pants, boot covers. She found a prom dress for me that could be easily altered into a peasant dress for $5. There's so many things at that time that we found. Oh, thank you, Ebony. It's a really fun game that I like to play. It's really playful. And that's a good hint about manifestation. If you can make it playful, if you can make it a game, more things are bound to happen. More cool synchronicities are bound to come. More recently, we were going to the beach in a month. So we went to the flea market for my husband's birthday, and we were just hanging out at the flea market. And I told my husband that we were going to find scuba gear because he wanted to go swimming in the ocean. And I told him I was going to find him the stuff that he needed to do this. And we went through all of the different tables and we looked, and we didn't find too awful much until we were about to leave. And then on the last table, there was a pair of flippers, a snorkel, and the swimming goggles. So that's a fun story. I told him going into the trip that we were going to find scuba gear, and we did. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm talking about. I'm talking about scripting. I've never heard it called 360, but essentially you write down in journal format the type of things that you want to happen in your life. And by putting this in your mind, in your subconscious, it makes it more likely to come into reality. Hi, I see that there's another viewer. If you have any question, comment it down below. But as of right now, we were discussing journaling and manifestation. So feel free to join the conversation. Now, in this most recent notebook that I have, I've been doing a lot of art. A lot more art than I've done in any of the others. Just trying to express myself. And I went back to the format of doing the poems. And I just tried to make it really colorful and really pretty. That way it'll be high vibration. Okay, so I'm at the end of my live stream, but I'm just going to finish this out real quick. Manifestation. Scripting can be a great manifestation tool. Writing out what you want to happen is a great manifestation tool. There are two super easy ways that you can get started. The first being just get a journal and write affirmations. Write I am, and then follow it up with whatever you want to be. I am pretty. I am smart. I am capable. The list goes on. Write down anything that you want to be true. That's an option for people who just like to keep it simple. Who, just have vague ideas of what they want and can do it that way. Another option is to actually sit down and script out what you want your life to be. And that is as if you're actually telling a story. So you sit down and you write and you tell the story as if it were actually happening. Some people like to put dates on it, like a certain date in the future. Some people like to do it that way. Some people just like to put the actual date on it. And you would write out your life as if it was a narrative. And you could be as descriptive as you want and get into the story and just have a great time. The important thing about this type of project, the important thing about journaling is just having fun. The more playful you are with it, the more likely good things are going to come your way. Just do your best not to stress out over the things that you want. Try not to be overly desperate about things. Just have a good time with it, and good things will come your way. Blessed be.